Okay, guys. Okay, we'll get started then. So most of you are having problem with creating database. Okay. So guys, just let me share the screen. So as we learned in the last class, we started to create a database, isn't it? An SQL connection, SQL query එක තමයි ලියුවේ නේද? So in the query, we created a database called database design and development, DB database design and development. And then what we did was we used that database in order to create the tables. And then we are having two tables in the database, which is one is TBL patient and then the other one is TBL hospital. So these two are the hospital and the patient are the tables. Okay, so that is why we have declared the name with the TBL. So it's really easy for us to understand whether this is a table or a database or whatever it is. Okay, so if you are naming the database, please try to name it as DB. Okay, so later when you are like going through some other like data tables or else databases, it would be really easy for you to understand, particularly this is a database කියන එක. Understood? And then ඒ වගේම තමයි table එකක් හදනකොටත් TBL කියන මේ syntax එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න බලන්න. Okay, so these are like when you are creating a database or a table, this would really help you to understand. Okay, understand කරන්න, your query itself would be really clear for you. Okay, ඔයාගේ query එකම ඔයාට really clearly තියෙන්න තමයි මේ වගේ ඔයාලට underscore එකක් එදා මම කියලා දුන්නා. It is must when you are creating a database, if you wanted to have a space in between two like words or something, you have to have underscore. Okay, and then පුතා ඔයාලට මේකෙන් තව දෙයක් කියලා දෙන්නම් මම අද queries ටිකක් බලන්න ඕනේ. And soon after that is finished, then we can continue with other things. Okay, so then you know how to create a database manually. Api ada tamai last class oyalake. Okay, so today will be the last class of yours, most probably, I think so. Then what we will be doing is manually also we will be creating, as this is this certification level, you won't be having any like assignments or anything. So there is a diploma, I think. Okay, so in the same Gatwick itself, you might have diplomas for database designing and development. Okay, so diploma level like tamai මේකක් තියෙන්නේ. Up to now what you have learned is that is how you will be learning all the things. That is how everything is like that. Okay, that means it's basically diploma එකෙත් නෙවෙයි, HND level එකේ ඉගෙන ගන්න දේවල් තමයි මේ certification level එකෙම ඔයාලා ඉගෙන ගත්තේ. So it would be really easy for you guys when you are doing your diploma or else your higher national diploma. It would be really easy for you to create a database and other stuffs. Even when you are coding a software, it also you need these sequels. So then you will be really you can really easily create a software or else even a SQL for in order to insert delete and update and all the other stuff, view even. Okay, okay guys, so database එක create කරගත්තා. මේ database එක ඕනේ නැත්නම් ඔයාලට මේ selection එක, okay, drop database db, the name of the database can be selected and then it can be executed in order to drop the entire database. Then you won't be able to have the database no longer, it won't be here in the database folder. Okay, in this SQL Server Management Studio, you will never be able to see the database. Okay, so if you wanted to have it again, then what you have to do, again you will be selecting this SQL and execute it again, then again you will get the database. So that's how you create a database and drop a database. And then if you wanted to create a table, or else even if you wanted to drop a table, or else if you wanted to alter and other stuffs, if you wanted to have fields and other stuffs, then definitely you need to say that use the database name. With the name you have to use it. If not, the SQL server doesn't know which database to be used to insert this table or else to create this table. Neither. Then ඔයා කියන්න ඕනේ ළමයින් database එකක් හදලා ඉවරුණාට පස්සේ ඔයාට දන්නවා දැන් create database කියන මේ SQL query එකේදී ඔයාලට පුළුවන් easily execute කරලා මේ database එක හදාගන්න. database එක. දැන් මේ database එක ඕනේ නැහැ කියලා හිතමුකෝ. දැන් මෙතන ගොඩක් තියෙනවා මං මෙතන තියෙන එකෙන් එකක් පාවිච්චි කරගන්නම් කියලා ඔයාලා හිතනවා කියලා කියමුකෝ. then ඔයාලට පුළුවන් easily මේකෙන් drop database කියන මේ SQL එක select කරලා execute කරන්න. නේද? දැන් ඔයාලා මේක download කරගන්න. හරිද? SQL Server Management Studio කියන එක latest version එක තියෙනවා කියලා එදා මං link එකක් share කරා. so install කරගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයාලට මේ වගේ field එකක් මේ වගේ එකක් බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. මේකෙන් new query කියන එක තමයි ඔයාලා create කරන්නේ. හරි? control n එක press කරලා shortcut key එක එකෙන් ඔයාලට මේ වගේ new query එකක් හදා ගන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙමත් නැත්නම් ඔයාලට මෙතනින් ගිහින් create කරගන්න පුළුවන්. and then මේ SQL එක save කරලා තියාගන්න ඕනේ නම් you can right click on the folder or else the SQL this query and then you can save it. Now since I have already saved it, it has been saved it as DDD sample. Okay, assume that I have created another new SQL. Okay, so if I wanted to save this, what you can do, save this wherever you want. Okay, it could be in your desktop or else it could be in your document or wherever. Okay, මේ බලන්න මේ වගේ තියෙනවා. ඔයාට පුළුවන් මෙතනින් එක SQL underscore D database something like that. Okay, data underscore with the name. Okay, so demo කියලා මම මෙතන save කරන්නම්කෝ demo. Okay, so you can save this SQL via clicking on this wherever you want. Okay, so you have to select the folder or else a location where you wanted to have this SQL. That's how you save the SQL file. Okay, so when you are double clicking on it later on, if you wanted to open it, reopen it again into the SQL Server Management Studio, what you can do, you know where you have saved this file, and then you can double click on it and then you can reopen it over here. එහෙම තමයි ඔයා SQL file එකක් open කරගන්නෙත් ඒ වගේම save කරගන්න. හරිද? Now I'm not going to save this because no point of saving this because I don't have any queries over here. So I'll just show you how you can save this file. Okay, this is how you just save it. You can even control S එක press කරලා save කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, there is a shortcut way. If not, you can go to the file and save. If not, what you can do, right click on here on top of this, and then you will be having an option called SQL save SQL query. So here click on this and then you will get another window. Through that you can easily save the SQL file. Okay, save karagata nang hari. No need to save it as SQL and all. Automatically it is SQL. You just save the name. That's it. Okay, you can just give the name and save it. That's all. Yeah, I have already saved few files and then yeah, this is one SQL file. There could be many other SQL files. In my SQL Server Management Studio. Yeah, these are SQL files. Okay, which I have already saved when I was doing DISC diploma classes back in ESOFT. Okay, so these are few database SQLs and there are a few more other SQLs as well. So you can get wherever you save, you can assume that you have saved it in desktop, then it would be in the desktop. So the location could be selected by you. Okay, ඔයා තමයි location එක select කරගන්නේ. නිකන් name එක දුන්න නම් ඇති. එච්චරයි. මේකෙන් මොකුත් change කරන්න එහෙම යන්න එපා. මේක මෙහෙමම තියලා save as type එක මෙහෙමම තියලා just give the name, file name, that's it. And then you select the location where you wanted to save it. It could be in downloads or desktop or wherever you want. Okay, so you give a proper name and save it. That's it. Okay, and then you will be having the file wherever you saved it, and then you can double click on it and you can reopen it whenever you need the SQL query. Okay, fine guys. Now we are having the database called DB, Database Design and Development, and we are using it currently. And then using the database, we have created a table called TBL patient. And then in the patient table, you are having few fields. For the patient ID, there's a field which is the primary key of the table. And then you are having F name, FL name, address line 1, address line 2, which are VACHA type of data types. And then also we have said that only the primary key, which is patient ID, and the name should not be null. That means it has to be filled. Definitely a value has to be given. விளங்கிச்சா? இந்த ரெண்டு ஃபீல்ட்ஸ்லயும் வந்து கட்டாயமா வந்து ஒரு ஃபீல்ட்ல ஒரு வெளி ஒன்று கொடுக்கப்பட்டே வேணும். சரியா? அப்படின்னா பேஷண்ட் ஐடியில வந்து கட்டாயம் 001 002 ஈக்கணும். அந்த ஃபீல்டை வந்து ஒரு டேபிள் இருக்குதுன்னு சொன்னா அந்த டேபிள் அந்த ஃபீல்டுல வந்து நாங்க அந்த செல் எதுவுமே இல்லைன்னு சொன்னா அது நாட் வேலிட். ஓகே, அப்படி ஏலாது உங்களுக்கு. நாட் நன்னு சொன்னா நீங்க கட்டாயம் எதுவுமே அது கொடுக்க என்னவாச்சும் ஒரு வெளியோண்டு அதுக்கு இன்சர்ட் பண்ணவே வேணும். அண்ட் தென் எஃப் நேம், அதுவும் அப்படித்தான். ஓகே, ஸோ நீங்க ஏதாச்சும் ஒரு கட்டாயம் ஒரு பேரை வந்து கொடுக்கவே வேணும். ஓகே, ஸோ அதர் திங்ஸ் ஆர் நாட் நீடட். நாட் நல் மீன்ஸ் புத்தா யூ நோ தட் definitely a value has to be given. F name is also the same. Yeah, you have to give, and definitely a value has to be given. Other things are like you can partially, you can just add if you like. If not, you can just leave it as null. These are also the same. And then we learned something called drop table, where you can delete or else drop a table. If you don't want to have this patient table, you can easily execute this. And then no longer the table would be in the database. Okay, so even if you expand the database, under the tables, here only the patient is there. So if you wanted to have the table hospital, again you have to select it and execute it. Then soon after it is executed, you will be able to see the table. We'll reload the table. We'll refresh the database. Now, where is it? Okay, already it is there. Then you will be executing it. Maybe sometimes it's not showing since mine is a old version. Okay, it is there. Okay, we'll insert something and then it would show here. Okay. Now you guys know that we can create a table, or else if you don't want to have the table, you can even drop it. And then you can alter table as well. Alter table means if you assume that you wanted to add something new into the table. Okay, then itanako oyata monari additionally patient ke TBL patient කියන එකට additionally මොනාර එකක් add කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා එතකොට ඔයාට මොනවද කරන්න පුළුවන්? alter කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, instead of just typing it, you cannot type it like that. Okay, you can't just go here and then okay මේකෙන් මම type කරන්නම් කියලා තව field එකක් add කරන්න එහෙම බෑ. Instead of typing it like that, you can alter the table. Okay, alter කරලා තමයි ඔයාලා edit කරන්න වෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේම table එකේ ඒ වගේම drop කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. If you don't want to have a column, a particular column, okay, then age කියන column එක ඕනේ නැහැ කියලා හිතමුකෝ. So you can easily drop it through this query as well. And then we finally, at the end, we just learned about something called select query, which can be executed in order to select everything from the table and show the data. Okay, me wage. Okay, so we have to tell that use this table again, use the database again. Then we can execute the database. Yeah, now you will be having. Again, you have to tell ne. Now, suddenly I opened the file and then without saying to the SQL Server Management, use this particular database, it doesn't know. Arida, මෙතන ගොඩක් databases තියෙනවනේ. එතකොට හැම වෙලේම ඔයාලා මොනාරි edit එකක් කරනකොට කියන්න ඕනේ අනිවාර්යෙන් මේ database එක තමයි ඔයා use කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. මේ database එකේ තමයි මේ table තියෙන්න ඕනේ, මේ table එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ හැම දෙයක්ම. හරි? And then only you can select it and then you can display. like this. Okay. So guys, you can see the fields, but still there is no any values neither. Patient ID, hari nathang, even in the name or address or email, there is no any values. So now we are going to insert a value into this table, into the patient table. Okay, TBL patient එකට අපි value එකක් insert කරන්න තමයි යන්නේ. හරි, values ටිකක් add කරමු to all the fields. So first thing what you do is you will be typing. So at insert value එක අපි දෙන්න ඕනේ නම් values ටිකක් අපි වෙන වෙනම දෙන්න ඕනේ. Okay, like separately we have to give all the values into each of these fields. So as we know, patient ID and the patient ID and the last name or else the first name should not be null කියලා අපි දීලා තියෙනවනේ. එතකොට ඒකට අපිට දන්නවා දැන් අනිවාර්යෙන් we have to fill a value into that. Okay, definitely we have to fill a value into that. So let's say insert into which table? Again, it is not working. My key is not working, so I might need to use into which table. So the table name is this. Are me table එකට තමයි අපි values ටිකක් add කරන්න යන්නේ. So let's say into this table, and you have to type the column names. හරි, මේකේ තියෙන column name මොන column එකටද කියලා. P underscore ID. Yeah, this is the column. There's a column. ඒ වගේම තියෙනවා F name නේද? This one again, comma L name, comma address line 1, comma address line 2, comma email. Okay, so these are the fields which is in the table. හරිද? අපි හැම දෙයක්ම කියන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ table එකේ මේ fields තියෙනවා. මේ හැම field එකටම values එක දෙන්න ඕනේ. අපි තමයි දෙන්න යන්නේ. Okay, so this is how the value has to be given. So PID එකට අපි දෙමු 100 කියලා. Since it is just integer, we can just type it as this. Double single quotation එකක් open කරන්න. Type 100 and you come out, then having as comma, say another single quotation inside this. If name එක කියමු අපි John කියලා, and then again comma, let's say the L name is null. Okay, null. Make among null tiyanang, because even though if there is nothing, still the query can be executed neda, because we have not set this as not null ne. L name එක address line 1 එකට අපි කියමු test address කියලා. Line 1, ඒ වගේම comma, another single quotation, let's say address underscore test underscore line underscore 2, and again another comma. Finally we are having email neda. Email එකට අපි කියමු sample at 123 කියලා. And finally, since we have opened the bracket, we have to close the bracket as well. Are? So we have said that insert කරන්න මේ table එකට, මේ table එකේ තියෙනවා PID, F name, L name, address line 1, line 2, email, all these fields are there. So these are the values. To PID, this should be inserted. John has to be inserted to this. There should not be anything in the L name. but the test address line 1 has to be added into the address line 1. Address line 2 එකට address test 1 line 2 කියන එක add වෙන්න ඕනේ. sample at 123 කියන එක email field එකට insert වෙන්න ඕනේ. Let's select the entire query and execute it. Now here you can see one row has been affected itself. Okay, so now let's select all from the table and will display with the value. You can see the answers here. L name is still none. Am I clear? Even you can, without filling address line 1 and address line 2, you can execute it because we have not set it as not null ne. Me මෙතන අපි not null කියලා දීලා නෑනේ. But see, now I'm going to keep the primary ID as null and trying to execute it. Will I be able to do that? Will I be able to execute it if I just keep the primary ID as null? No, right? Because we have set in the query itself, we have set it as not null. That means මෙතන අනිවාර්යෙන් value එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. It has to be given, right? So then we cannot keep it as not null, isn't it? So definitely we have to say that, yeah, if I try to execute it, here we have somehow it is a blank value is being passed. So then it is something like here, if we just keep it as like this. Yeah, again you won't be able to insert it. Okay, another syntax error would be shown to you. So then let's say if I just try to insert the same value again, okay, 100 කියන එකම ආයෙත් set කරන්න යනවා primary key එක. Yeah, again you will get a error saying that the same primary key cannot be inserted again because primary key is unique, right? එතකොට 100 කියන එක එකම එක line එකේ තමයි තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. You cannot have it like you can duplicate it again and again, okay, several times. Here this has been updated as 0, the first one, because C0 is also a value, right? Then again if I just keep it as null and execute it, yeah, can't, because 0 කියන එකම ආයෙත් එතන pass වෙන්න බෑනේ. 0 is also here. If we just keep this as 200 and John එකට අපි කියමු blank, there is nothing. Again 0, can't. Okay, again primary key is being redundant. See, we cannot pass this. We have to write this. Okay, so fine, we'll just insert few other datas into the table. Let's say 200 and 1 is another ID. Not, let's keep it as 110, another 101. Okay, let's say this is Smith. Okay, so I changed the values. Now let's execute it. If you select the table again, you will be able to see 4 values has been inserted. 0 is one ID, and then 100, and you are having 101 and 200. Okay, so all these values has been inserted into the table. Okay, am I clear? Okay, then what values තියෙනවා මේ ඔක්කොම තමයි values ටික. හරි? then අපි මේ values ටික එහෙමම තියාගෙන now what we are going to, now you know how you can insert values into the table. Now let's see if we wanted to update a table. Okay, then හිතන්න මේ table එකම patient table එකම you wanted to update. Okay, so that also can be easily done. Assume that you wanted to change a name, particular person's name, or else let's say you wanted to change the email address or else a phone number or say address or whatever it is. So that can be done easily by a small query which is update query. Okay, so ඒකට ඔයා මොනවද කරන්න ඕනේ නම් update කියලා type කරන්න, update, and then you have to type the name of the table. Okay, and then you have to say set කරන්න මේ table එකේ PID is not needed. Let's keep it as it is. If name is equal to what? A value. Let's say PID එක අපි then change කරන්න යන්නේ, we are going to update 0 100. Okay, okay, we are going to මේ update කරන්න යන්නේ 100 කියන එක්කෙනාගේ නම. Okay, we'll just insert a first name and a last name. Okay, so if name will, it's currently it's John, we'll change it into, let's say Jack. Okay, and comma, again you will be saying that there is L name which has to be updated as let's say Lawrence or something. Okay, not let's say Mike කියලා type කරන්නම්කෝ දැනට. Okay, then ඔයා කියලා තියෙනවා මෙතන update කරන්න මේ table එක set ඒ update කරලා set කරන්න f name as this, l name as this, where you have to say where which මොන එකද දැන් මේ මෙතන දන්නේ නැහැ මොන මේකේ තියෙනවා fields ටිකක්, but which one has to be updated like this, where the patient ID is equal to patient ID is equal to, inside the double quotation, single quotation, you have to say which ID. So let's change the 100. Okay, this one only be going to be updated. And then you have to correctly give the number values and values as well. Then මෙතන ඔයා 100 කියලා දුන්නාම මේක update වෙනවා. If you give the primary ID as 200, then this field will be updated likewise. Okay, so now let's select the entire query and we'll execute it. Now one row has been affected. Let's select all and see whether it has been updated. Me Jack Mike has been updated. Am I clear? Now if you wanted to change Smith or else even the address line, one particular thing also can be changed. දැන් බලන්න මම මෙතන f name එක විතරක් දීලා update කරන්න කියලා දුන්නොත් even if I want to update that also can be done. Okay, not all the values has to be given. Okay, again and again whatever you wanted to update could be given, and then it has to be, it can be set as whatever the value you wanted to update, and then you can execute it. But definitely you have to remember the primary ID has to be given. මේ primary ID තියෙන එක තමයි update අනිවාර්යෙන් වෙන්න ඕනේ කියන එක අනිවාර්යෙන් දෙන්න ඕනේ. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now you know how to insert, select and update the table. Now finally we'll see delete. ඔයාට then delete කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා හිතමු one particular, let's say one particular line එක. හරිද? එතකොට delete from this table where you will say where patient ID is equal to, let's copy this and paste it. Okay, I'll copy it and paste it. Sorry, where patient ID is equal to 100. So then අපි බලමු මේක execute කරලා මේ 100 කියන එක නැති වෙනවද කියලා මෙතන. Okay. Select it. Now here 100 is no longer there. Am I clear? 100 will not be there in the table. Even if you wanted to delete 0 value, that also can be deleted. You will change the PID in the delete, then execute it. Now you won't be able to see the 0 value. Okay, it is also not there. තේරුණාද? insert කරන්නත් පුළුවන් ඔයාලට ඕන විදියට, ඒ වගේම delete කරන්නත් පුළුවන්, එක table එකකින් update කරන්නත් පුළුවන්, ඒ වගේම select කරලා බලන්නත් පුළුවන්. So all these are really main queries when it comes to SQL. You have to remember all these queries. Okay, so then ඔයාලට easily understand කරගන්න පුළුවන් table එකක් කොහොමද create කරන්නේ, database එකක් කොහොමද create කරන්නේ, in the database how you can use the database, okay, and then how you can create a table in a database, and inside the table or else the database table, what kind of a values that you can store, and then a primary should be there. Primary key is like must neither. When we were learning theory, I have taught you that primary key is something which is really important when it comes to database neither. And then you know how to drop a table, make a comma which is related to the table, okay, where you can drop a table, where you can alter a table, alter and you can add a table, a column, alter and you can drop a column. And when it comes to these are like for each and every values, okay, so these are like you are inserting and you are selecting the value, you are updating a value and deleting value. Okay, so මේක තමයි ඔයාලා දැනගන්න ඕන primary like basic queries when it comes to SQL. Okay, so these are like must, you have to remember, keep this in your mind, and then we can move on to the manual database creation. Do you have any doubts in this? මේක ඔක්කොම මතක තියාගන්න, මේක ලියලා හරි තියාගන්න. In the last class itself I asked you to write down everything, isn't it? I asked you to write down the queries whatever that I am typing. ලියාගත්තනම් ඔයාලට හොඳයි, නැත්තම් ඔයාලට මතක තියෙන්නේ නැහැ මේක. හරි? So queries කියලා කියන්නේ it is really important, you have to practice a lot, okay? It won't just come into your mind. Now I will show you how you can create a manual database. It is really easy than this, okay? No need to type anything, no need to do anything. You can easily like select and drop down and you can just create a table. But when it comes to coding, if you wanted to become a programmer, if you are willing to become a software engineer or someone like that, then definitely you have to know about these queries, because even in your interviews, or else even when you are working as a software engineer, or else even if you wanted to become a web developer, they are definitely you will be using these queries in your coding. Okay, so queries are really must. That is why I taught this thing at the beginning. Okay, නැත්තම් මට manual එකම කියලා දීලා යන්න තිබ්බා, but queries are really important when it comes to coding, okay, when it comes to programming. Okay guys, now you know how you can easily create a database using SQL queries. Clear? Is any doubt? Do you have any doubt? මොනාරි doubts තියනවද? then what save කරගත්තා නම් හරි මේක. Okay, now I'll save it. Control S එකේ save කරගත්තා නම් හරි. Since I have already saved it, it will resave it again in the same location. Then බලන්න ඔයාට මේක yes save කරගත්තා නම් you can close it. That's it. Query is clear නේද? Now පුතා, I'll show you how you can create a manual database. So all these are database නේ බලන්න මෙතන then DB database design and development is also there, and all the others are also databases. Yeah, all these are databases. So in SQL Server Management Studio, there is a like one thing you can write your query. Query means SQL කියන්නේ query එකක් නේද? Query language එකක්. So you can write your query language. If not, what you can do, under this server, you are having this database folder, right? You can right click on the database server, the database folder, and click on new database. Then a window will pop up. Okay, ඔයාට මෙතනින් ගිහින් මේ වගේ right click කරලා මේ විදියට database එකක් create කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Now here you can easily type the database name. we'll say db something like this, db underscore demo underscore manual කියලා මම type කරන්න. හරි. Now what you can do is, okay, you have typed the database name and then you can just press okay. So now then බලන්න මෙතන තියෙනවද එක db demo කියන එක? No, right? What you do, refresh the database folder, then here you can see the database as we did even when we were doing the database design using SQL queries, isn't it? Then balana here, the database has been created. The same thing, but here you are not going to type anything. Instead of typing the queries, you will manually just give the name and then just press the OK button. Using Windows form, you will create it. තේරුණාද? ඔයා ෆෝම් එකක් පාවිච්චි කරලා ඒ ෆෝම් එකේ තුලින්ම තමයි ඔයා database එක create කරන්නේ. මෙතන ඔයා නිකන් වෙනම ගිහින් query එක type කරන්නේ නැහැ, මේ වගේ create කරන්න database එකක් drop කරන්න use කරන්න එහෙම කියලා මොකුත් type කරන්නේ නැහැ. Instead of doing that, you will just right click over here and then new database name එක දීලා create කරනවා. එච්චරයි. හරිද? දැන් බලන්න මේ වගේ database එක add වෙලා තියෙනවා. Now what you can do is you can drop down this database and then under the table you can just right click on the table and table කියන එක add කරන්න. Okay, so you will be able to see a window like this where it gives you all the column names and the data types and not null the කියන එක ඔයාලට මෙතනින්ම දීලා ඔයාලට create කරන්න පුළුවන්. So here let's say ඒ වගේම database එක අපි save table එක තාම save කරේ නැහනේ. So you can save the table as what? You have to give the name for it, okay? So first thing you have to give values, okay? So let's say patient ID එකම අපි create කරමු. හරි? Patient ID, so p underscore id කියලා value එකක් තියෙනවා. Data type එක what? Let's name it as integer, okay? Allow null? No, it should not be null, okay? And then patient ID එකට පස්සේ තියෙනවා name එක, then let's say name කියලා patient name හරි මොන හරි එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Let's say p underscore name, this is no vacha. Okay, vacha 50 is okay. This allow null the, yeah, okay, fine, we'll keep it as null. Okay, even though if there is no values, it's okay, fine. Patient name එකට පස්සේ patient address එක, address, let's say that is also vacha නේද? Here you can change the value. If you wanted to have a lengthy value, you can even change it through here. If you wanted to keep it as 70, you can change it like this, okay? This also can be null. So we'll just allow null, we'll take it as allow null, okay? And also Puta, when you are like selecting these fields, you will be able to see something column properties කියලා මෙතන. Okay? Then මම මේක කියලා දෙන්නම් column property කියන එක. And before that, I just wanted to show you. Now, as we know, this is the primary key of this table නේද? PID කියන තමයි primary key. So how we can set the primary key manually? So later on, earlier when we were coding the queries Puta, we just typed it, isn't it? Primary key මේක තමයි primary key කියලා. But here what you can do is easily you can right click over the column and then you can set this as the primary key automatically. Then this will become the primary key. Am I clear? එම ඔයාට primary key එක මෙතනින්ම set කරගන්න පුළුවන්. And then you are having few properties for this primary key for all the things, okay? බලන්න general name එක okay. මෙතනින් උනත් ඔයාට මේක change කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Allow null the yes the no the කියන එක මෙතන දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, here you can drop it down, yes or no කියන එක දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Data type එක integer the මොනවාද, default value එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේද නැද්ද? Okay, that means default value එකක් මෙතන add කරන්න ඕනේද කියන එකත් ඔයාට මෙතනින් type කරලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ ඔයාට මෙතනින් බලන්න constant, okay, data type, this is like Other things are not much needed. Okay, specification, these are not needed, but you have to know the general things. Name can be changed over here as well, or else you can change the null or not null, and then data type, and then default value also can be added over here. And if you wanted to give a description, that also can be given through here. Description එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ here what you gonna type. Okay, here the primary key has to be typed like that. Okay, this is the primary key or something like that. Like this. එහෙම කියලා ඔයාට description එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. හරිද? Then later on, even when someone else is going through this manual design, they can easily identify, okay, so this is the primary key, so this is the first name. Likewise, not this the same description, I'm just giving you this as the example. Okay, so you have to understand what kind of a description would add more value into a kind of a value, like a field, and then you have to edit in your own way. Okay, so that is going to add more value into the database. Okay, description එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒක more value එකක් add කරනවා වගේනේ. ඒකට ඔයාගේ අතේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ ඔයා කොහොමද ඒක add කරන්නේ කියන එක. ඒකට this is the property of each of these columns. Let's add another value as well. PID address එක තියෙනවා, and then patient, let's say email එකත් add කරගමු. That also, let's name it as Vaja. Okay, so that's all. Now what you can do is right click on here. The table can be saved as tbl underscore whatever that you want. Okay, so I'll just name it as tblp. Okay, then table like in the table you are having 4 columns. Okay, 4 fields are there, and you have created it. Now when you are refreshing the table folder, you will be able to see the table P like this. Again, the same name. Now, both the way you can create the tables. Database table එකක් create කරන්නේ එක්ක query එකේ කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. එහෙමත් නැත්නම් ඔයාට manually මේ වගේ කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. You might wonder now, so this is really easy. We can do like this නේ කියලා නේද? Most of the time that's how people think. That's how even my students also think. But you have to do is Puta, even though you can create a database or as a table easily like this, you have to know how you can code the queries. Okay, because the queries are the one which is going to play a real huge role when it comes to your database, not the database, the software, or else even data, like we say, when you are working as a database administrator or whoever you are, they won't ask you to create it manually. They would ask you like tacky questions, like even when you are attending to an interview, they would ask you to write a query only. Okay, they would give you a pen, and then they would ask you to write a query for the insert table like even alter table like query then you have to write it. Understood? So that's how it is. So you have to, and now you have to remember, or else you have to practice a lot the queries. Okay, queries has to be practiced, because that is what is going to be used in the future, or else even in the industry. Okay, not the manual things. Okay, manual like easy unata මේකෙන්ම ඔයාලට මේකෙන්ම එහෙම දෙයක්ම කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක නෑ. Okay, so query is something where you have to definitely know. Okay, now you are having the table. හරිද? දැන් table එක තියෙනවනේ. මේ table එකට කොහොමද අපි insert කරන්නේ data? හරි? So what we can do is you can right click on the table. Okay, you can easily right click on the table and edit top 200 rows කියලා හරි තියෙනව නේද? මෙතන ඔයාලට ඒක click කරලා what you can do, you can easily view the data table like this, and here you can type a value like this. Now insert කරන්නේ ඔයා PID is 1, and then you can keep it as like name එක දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Let's say Jack Smith email at 123. Now here you can add another value. Yeah, you can say let's keep it as null, and then let's type sample at 123. Okay, again if you try to type 2, it won't allow you to edit. Okay, see, it would show you an error because this is the primary key, right? Let's type something like ABC, and let's say this is also demo. Yeah, the data in row 3 was not committed because error says that the database primary key constraint. Primary cannot be duplicated. Here, duplicate key in object table P. So you cannot duplicate the key value is twice you cannot, or twice, so more than one you cannot use it. Okay, so we have to press OK, and then we'll change this as 3. Now you will be able to insert the other two. Am I clear? Another. Now this is the second way, manual way of inserting data into the table. Now here you no need to type any like update queries or anything. Even you can do like you can just edit it. Priya kiyane ke nathang ABC kiyane ke. Assume that you wanted to type something like Kavi kiyala. Then that is like updating. You are updating, right? So even you can update it like this. Okay. So ඔයාට ඕන එකක් මෙතන change කරගන්න පුළුවන්. That is like not much that you have to type a query or anything over here, manual thing. Manual එකේ ඔයාට ඕන විදියට delete කරන්න පුළුවන්, මේක update කරන්න පුළුවන්, ඕන දෙයක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, if you want even you can delete everything. Okay, so that's how the manual database creation can be done. Am I clear? දැන් මේක තේරුණාද? database එකක් ටක් ගාලා හදනවා, ඒකෙදි table එකක් add කරනවා, table එක add කරලා ඔයාට පුළුවන් 200 rows edit එක දීලා, and then you can edit the date. Like you can insert and then you can add data or else insert කරන්න කියන්නේ add කරනවා, and then you can update it, you can delete, you can do whatever. Okay, so this is how you use the data table and the database, and then the values can be inserted in everything. But I always ask you to from the beginning I'm telling that you remember the queries and write down the queries and keep it with you. It's going to really help you when in your future. And try to create data tables like this. Okay, so you can connect the data tables with that software, and then you can insert data from the software into the database and everything. Okay, so api database in your diploma you would learn that. Okay, so now it is easy for you to, now you know how to create a data table, and you know ER diagram එකේ තමයි අපි ER diagram එක තමයි convert කරන්න into a data table. Okay, that you know, right? Data table එකක් හදනවා නම් අපි data ER diagram එක තමයි data table එකක් විදිහට convert කරන්නේ. හරිද? එතකොට ඒ table එක තමයි ඒ table එකේ ඔයාට ඕන විදිහට මේ වගේ datas insert කරන්න, එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay guys, now it is time for you guys to ask any questions. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. That's the thing. So at the beginning itself, I ask you to add your data, this, right? Yeah, you can do the diploma, I think. You have to contact, I think, the management. Okay, so they said that they are having diplomas, it seems. I'm not aware of it. Okay, I do only the certifications level. So you better talk to them, and they said that there are few diplomas as well in Gatwick. You better talk to them and continue the diploma as well, Puta. Since this is certification level, like, but here you have learned everything. Even though if you go to the diploma, they would teach you the same, maybe. I think so. Like you just, yeah, software එකක් start කරාම ඒක මං කියලා දෙන්නම්. You have to, that also I'm not aware of it. Okay, Since I am the lecturer, Puta, so I do only the lecturing. I don't have any other idea about the certification and other stuffs. You have to contact the management and you have to clarify the things from them. Okay, I'm not aware of any of these things. I do only the lecturing. So I all the ways I tell that, like, even most of the time students, they call me or else they text me and they ask me, like, whether certificates are given, no diplomas, what other stuffs. I doesn't know anything. Okay, because I'm only the lecturer. Okay, I'm the resource person. I just do only class. Okay, I doesn't know anything about the management and other stuffs. You have to talk to them, and you have to get it from them. Which one is Nalputa? This one, the last row, it is this one. You are asking about this. Since we have not given inserted any value, it is saying null. So even if you just type a value, it won't be null. You have to, if you wanted to make it not null, you have to type something. That means you are inserting something. Soon after you insert a value, no longer it would be null. It's like this. Value null means there is nothing. If you soon after you give insert a value, there is something, right? Then the null value is not there. That's it. Okay, I'll connect this again and show you. See, so when you are opening the SQL connection, SQL Server Management Studio, you will be able to see something like this. Okay, so this is what you are telling. So here, usually at the in the last class itself, I taught you how you have to connect the server. So most of the time, your computer is the server for the SQL Server Management. Server is something where you will be able to have all the databases. Okay, server is the one which will contain it. Give me a minute for that. Okay, no, Puta, I am not the lecturer. Diploma, I don't do any lecturing. Still, they have not asked me to do any lecturing for the diploma. But certification levels only, I do up to certification levels. Okay. හරි දැන් බලන්න server එක දැන් ඔයාට මේ වගේ start කරාම you will be able to see something like this. So most of the time පුතා, your computer is the server. Okay, your computer is the one which will be working as the server for the database. එතකොට ඔයා මේ server එක ඔයාලට මෙහෙම මොකුත් පෙන්වුවේ නැත්නම්, if it doesn't show anything like this, you can drop it down like this, and there is something called browse for more. And under the browse for more, there you can find out database engine. Okay, under the local server, you will be able to see something called database engine. So even when you expand that thing, you will be able to see the servers. So you can select either SQL, you just select the first server. Okay, the server which is in your computer. Now my computer's name is not well, and then SQL Express එක තමයි මගේ server එක. So you select it and press OK. Then you are giving the server connection. That's it. And don't change anything in the authentication. Keep it as Windows authentication as well. And connect it. That's it. You will be connecting. Then the database server will connect it. And in your computer, now the computer will work as a server. And you can create any number of data tables and any number of databases in your computer. Okay, මේ වගේ. මෙතන බලන්න දැන් ගොඩක් තියෙනවනේ databases. මේ විදිහට ඔයාට ඕන තරම් bases හදාගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. වෙන මොනාරි doubts තියෙනවද? Any other doubts related to database and other stuffs? Now you know from the basics, from the theory, you know database CR diagrams and other stuffs and everything has been taught to you. And now you know how to create a database, insert data into it, and insert values insert data tables into the database, create a database data table into a database, and how you can insert values into the table, and everything has been taught, and I hope it is clear. And later on in your diplomas, I think most probably they would teach you how you can connect the data table with the software and insert or else update through the software. Okay, for example, I can show you an example. I'll show you an example. Okay, then you will understand. Visual Studio. If you have any other doubts, you may ask me. Your programming class is tomorrow, ne? Tomorrow. What did we learn in the programming class, Puta? The last class? නෑ පුතා මේ assignments මේකේ දෙන්නේ නෑ. Okay, deep certification level in the all assignments නෑ, diploma level එකේ you will have the assignments, you know. Okay, we had the assignments earlier, but later on now, since it is only the certification level, most of the assignments are not being submitted and all, so then we cancel it. You will be able to do it in the diploma. Okay, you will get definitely in diplomas, they will definitely give you assignments. Certificate එක පුතා ඔයාලා management එකත් එක්ක තමයි කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. හරිද? Certification එක දෙනවා. Okay, I don't have any idea about those steps. You better contact the coordinator and ask them. Okay. We'll see if they, if some, maybe sometimes maybe if I have the assignments, if they arrange another session, then I can issue the assignment. Okay, I have all the assignments with me for all the 5 courses. If possible, if they, because for the software engineering and web engineering last class we didn't had any session for the assignment issuing. That's the thing. Okay, if there is a session for it, then definitely I will share you the assignment as well. Okay. Okay, so username, let's type the username as admin. Think the password is 123. So something like this. So when you create the database, so here member ID කියලා කියන්නේ. Now you have to remember the database. Okay, so ID is the unique key, right? So if I press 1 and insert, if it is already existing, then it won't allow me to insert the same. Here record is already existing with the ID, so you know primary keys cannot be redundant neither. So we'll type something like 101 or something. Okay, so let's say 112. Let's see. Okay, 12 is not there. So now see, we can easily add other values as well. It disabled, it was disabled earlier, now it is enabled. Now we'll just type few names over here. Address can be nice number and save it. The database successfully saved. Okay, here save means you are like what you are doing is you are inserting the data value into the database. Okay, now here update button එක තියෙනවා. දැන් ඔයාට දන්නේ අර query එක පිටිපස්ස ලියලා තියෙනවනේ. ඒකෙන් තමයි මේක වෙන්නේ. හරිද? update insert ඔක්කොම ලියලා තියෙනවා. Now I'll type 12. I wanted to update it. So when you click update again, you will be able to see all the data that you inserted earlier. Now you can do updates over here. You can do any updates over here. Save again. It will update the table. Okay, and you can delete the table as with data as well. Delete. Yeah, successfully deleted. So it is not longer there in the table. If I try to type 12 and again update, there is no any data with this ID. And you can cancel, go back, all this can be done. And return issue. We'll see if there is any view I can animate. So additionally, view also can be added. So a grid can be added, then the select query ekedi select query එක type කරලා all the data can be derived from the database into the data table. So this is a software, a management system has been developed for a library, and then it has been created and then it has been connected with the database. Here this is the database. So from the database, here database SQL connection. So later you will learn all this in your diploma thing. Okay, so the database has been connected, and I'll show you the coding. Here select all from the this. Here the same thing. So query, that is why I told you queries are really important when it comes to programming and other stuff. So you have to remember, or else you have to practice. Now manually මෙතන කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා කියන්න බෑනේ අපිට. අනිවාර්යෙන් ඔයාලා මේකෙන් code කරන්න වෙනවා. So coding එකට programming language එක C# එක විතරක් දැනගෙන මදි. හරිද? You have to know about these sequels as well. Okay, then only you will be able to easily code. Tomorrow we'll see if possible. We'll create one form and then we'll do all the three. Now you know how to code queries ne. එතකොට මම ඔයාලට කියලා දෙන්නම් C# එකෙන්ම හදමු අපි. හරිද? C# එකෙන්ම form එකක් create කරලා we'll connect it with the database and we'll do a small one application, one form application එකක් අපි හදලා update, view and delete and insert ඔක්කොම හදලා බලමු. හරිද? Tomorrow we'll do that. I'll design a form and come. Okay, now we are having a database, the database DB database designing and development කියලා. So we'll connect the same database with the what Visual Studio, and we'll code using C# and then we'll do a small program. Okay, then you can easily understand how it is working, how database and data table can be used in order to insert the data in from that software and other stuffs. No, Java is not going to be continued. I thought of doing Java as well, but since we don't have much time, we won't be able to do that. Okay, since this is certification level, I think only 16 hours only. Your duration is 16 hours. Okay, so within that 16 hours, it is really not possible to teach all the languages. Okay, in diplomas, usually it takes about 4 to 6 months to complete both the languages. But even in diplomas, they don't teach you both the languages. I thought of teaching you Java, but no, there is no any chances to do that. Most probably tomorrow would be your last class if you are programming as well. So then we'll continue to do it in C# as well, C# itself. Okay, because since we have already started C#, now you know the object oriented concept and other stuff. So C# එකේ අපි application එකක් හදමු, form එකක් with the login form, and then we can finish it off. Okay, and you continue your diploma as well. Okay, since this is certification level, it's not enough. Okay, diploma එකත් complete කරන්න, then you can continue to do your higher studies. හරි, එහෙමම නවත්තන්න එපා. හරිද? certification එකේ අපිට ඔක්කොම තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා හිතන්න එපා. Continuously do up to degree. Okay, try to have a degree, because degree is like a minimal qualification when it comes to an industry. Okay, degree එකත් දැන් මට උනා degree එකක් තියනවා කියලා කියන්නේ it's just like a minimum qualification. Okay, So try to do your masters as well as PhD tarang walata yana pulana, it's really good. Okay, so now I hope you might have got even a clear idea about database and database designing and other stuffs, ER diagrams. All these things are going to really help you when it comes to your higher studies. So now itself you take notes and keep of everything, all the recordings, and try to do more practice all the time. So it will really help you when it comes to your higher studies. Okay, guys, any doubts? Any doubts related to database and designing and other stuffs? Software engineer, computer science degree puta, most probably, yeah. Software engineering means when it comes to a company, they are like assume that there is a software company. Okay, so in a company there are not only software engineers are working, there are software designers, architectures, project managers are there, and designers are there, architect designers are there, UI designers are there, UX designers are there, software developers are there. Okay, so software engineers means software engineers are the one who will be developing most of the time, and some software engineers are there, those like software engineers ke liye kya hai, or like all rounder. Okay, they can architect, they can design, they can develop, they know how to develop a database, everything they don't know. Okay, that is why we call them as software engineers. Okay, so ඔයාට software engineer කෙනෙක් ඒ කියන්නේ according to the company's need you can become who you wanted to become. Okay, there is something called, okay, මොනවද පුතා ඔයාට programming class link එක හම්බුනේ මොන link එකද? I didn't do the previous classes නේද? batch නා මං හිතන විදිහට මේ fourth batch එක තමයි. You know one thing, I just do it online, right? So I don't have any connection between the company. I just communicate through the phone only. Okay, class එකට join වෙන්න. එතකොට ඔයා කොහමද පුතා join වෙන්නේ? class එක programming class එකට? How you are joining? So you are not in the fourth batch, is it? And guys, if you wanted to do your higher studies and all, you can talk to me, because one of even in your programming batch there is a girl who spoke to me, and I she came last week. She came, and then I joined. I talked to her, and then now I think she has joined for the HNDs in eSoft Candy campus. Okay, so even if you have any plan to do HNDs in software engineering or any other fields, you can talk to me, because I personally know them. So then I can talk to them, and you can like like continue to do your higher studies from places like that. Okay, because it's time consuming. If not, you have to wait for about like 4 years or 5 years to complete your degree and to get a job, and then you have to, when you are getting a job, they would ask you the experience, and then you have to have experience for that, isn't it? Okay, එතකොට ඔයාට පුළුවන්, ඔයාට ඕනේ නම් එහෙම HNDs ගැන HNDs follow කරන්න මොන හරි ideas තියෙනවා නම් I can guide you through that. Okay, because please do your HNDs and other degree as well. Okay, don't just skip after the A levels. Okay, make a degree diploma එකක් කරා මේකත් එක්ක ඇති කියලා හැමම ඉන්න එපා. මේක ඔයාලට පස්සේ තමයි තේරෙන්නේ මෙහෙම ඩිග්‍රී එකක් තියෙන. මං දැන් හිතනවා, okay, I could have done my degrees when I was even 19 කියලා. Okay, 19 years ඉන්නකොටම මට කරන්න තිබ්බ කියලා හිතනවා. Then it would add more value to your CV and other stuff. Okay, so now itself you consider about your HNDs and other stuff. HND level is puta. HND means higher national. You are like after completing your diploma, you can easily get into HNDs. Like HNDs in master, like HNDs in software engineering is there. HNDs in psychology is there. HND in business management. In all the sectors, there are HNDs. HNDs means that is the first 2 years of your degree. Okay, so these 2 years has to be completed if you are not doing any like bachelor's degree is there. Okay, and even you can do bachelor's degree without doing HNDs. Okay, so in private sectors there are many kind of degrees and diplomas are available. So you have to know like most of the time people do HNDs and then they do their top up, and then completing all the stuffs together they will finally have B engineering in software engineering, or else BSc in software engineering, things like that. So it's up to you. You have to like if you go to a sector you will be you will be able to like go through their module structures and everything and understand what are the subjects that they are having and available, and what is your interest and in which field you are going to continue your career and all. And one was asking පුතා පුලස් ඒවා පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න හරිද මේ ලින්ක් එක ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරලා බලන්න management එකත් එක්ක. I don't have any connection with them. Okay, I just do only the class, that's the thing. They send me the link and I do the conduct the class. Okay, all the other relevant the certificate other stuffs you have to talk to the management. Okay, any other doubts? Any doubts? Okay, එහෙනම් ඔයාලා ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්න database එකක් හදන්න, database manual, query එකේ දෙකම ඔයාලා ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරන්න. Do more practice, then we can continue tomorrow inshallah. Tomorrow we will be creating a form and then we will be connecting with the database. With the same database we'll connect, and then we'll insert, update, delete and all the stuff we'll do in one form itself and finish it off. Okay, and then you are having word this right, yeah, that also there. That is also I think one or another two more classes to be complete. So guys, don't stick with this itself. Please try to do your HNDs and other higher qualification. Try to gain more qualification. More qualification that you are having, the more the payment you would get. Okay, even when you're getting paid, if you don't have more qualification, they would pay you less and then they would get more work from you. That's how the industry is. Okay then. Okay guys, if you have any doubts you can ask me. If not, we can wind up the session. Multimedia development, you have to follow any there are multimedia courses available. Okay, so they teach you 3D Max, Maya and graphic designing related, all the stuff should be taught to you. So you have to do any kind of like in few I don't know whether it is there in Gatwick. There are some institute where they have multimedia diplomas for about like 9 months and all. They are having duration is like 9 months or something. You just have to follow that, then you will have the knowledge about the multimedia. And then application development, I think in HNTs there is a field for application development. I don't have much more idea about the degree level, so you have to search for it. Okay, but diplomas are there, multimedia diplomas are available. They teach you Maya, Max, 3D Max, Maya and Get In and all they teach. Okay, if you are more into like multimedia stuffs, you can follow that. Even Gatwick might have that course, right? Multimedia course, I don't know, just ask them. Okay, yeah, Illustrator, Photoshop, that comes under the graphic designing. 3D Max, Maya, Photoshop, Illustrator, Bridge and Premium Pro, they would teach all the things. It's like a collection. I mean, under the multimedia they teach you everything. Okay, guys. Any other doubts related to Photoshop? The what? Not Photoshop. Sorry, database designing and development. Okay, then we can wind up the session. Then we can continue tomorrow's class. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow's class with the form application. We'll connect it with the database, and we'll do few more functions, and then you will have a clear idea, okay, on it. And that's all then. Okay, guys, then see you in the next class. Not next class, tomorrow. Okay, bye. Bye, guys.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.